in a New Hampshire case, justices relied on the 14th Amendment, adopted after the Civil War, and federal law to rule that, with limited exceptions, anyone born in the United States is a citizen, including children of people in the U.S. illegally or temporarily. President Trump's order had already been blocked by lower courts and never took effect, so the Supreme Court ruling that birthright citizenship can stay in effect.
And the Supreme Court also ruled to allow states to ban transgender athletes from competing on girls' sports teams. In its 6-3 ruling, the High Court said such bans are legal under both the Constitution and federal law. They exist in some form in 27 states, including West Virginia and Idaho. And the ruling is a blow to the LGBTQ plus community. Advocates for this ban says that they, that they create a more even playing field.